CBS News presents In Color, Inside Pop, The Rock Revolution. Brought to you by
General Telephone and Electronics, G, T, and E, and its family of companies.
I came to these songs naturally through my children, but I have a sneaky feeling I would have heard and responded to them anyway. After all, they are part of music, which is my world, and a part that is so pervasive as to be almost inescapable. Many parents do try to escape this music, and even forbid it on the grounds that it is noisy, unintelligible, or morally corruptive. I have neither escaped nor forbidden it, neither as a musician nor as a father. I think this music has something terribly important to tell us adults, and we would be wise not to behave like ostriches about it. Besides, as I said, I like it. Of course, what I like is maybe 5% of the whole output, which pours over this country like the two oceans from both coasts, and it's mostly trash. But that good 5% is so exciting and vital, and, may I say, significant, that it claims the attention of every thinking person. Okay, let's get down to some specific songs, to the music itself. Here is a cheery bit by the Beatles.
Good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine.
Now, that's not just cheery, it's also very unorthodox. For one thing, it suddenly, if you noticed, leaves out a beat, so that an ordinary 4-beat measure becomes a 3-beat measure. Listen.
Good day, sunshine.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Good day, sunshine.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so on. You see just one sudden bar of 3 among all those 4s. We never used to find that in pop music. It's new. And then just as suddenly, there was that arbitrary change of key. Good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine. Sort of tart, pungent. Then there was that odd little canon at the end, a sort of round.
Good day, sunshine, sunshine.
What a way to fade out in a new key, a shifting meter, a sudden new counterpoint. But that's the Beatles, always unpredictable and a bit more inventive than most. You know a remarkable song of theirs called She Said, She Said? Well, in that song, which goes nicely along in 4, there's again a sneaky switch to 3/4 time, only this time it's not just for one bar, but for a whole passage. She said, you don't understand what I said. I said, no, 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 you're wrong. When I was a boy, everything was right. Did you get it? If not, listen again to the Beatles this time.
She said, you don't understand what I said. I said, no, 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 you're wrong.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Everything was right. Everything was right. I said.
And we're back again safely in the old 4-beat. Now, the point I want to make is that such oddities as this are not just tricks or show-off devices. In terms of pop music's basic English, so to speak, they are real inventions. And it's not only the Beatles who make these inventions. For instance, there's a group known as the Left Bank that has a tune called Pretty Ballerina. Now, this tune is built not in the usual major or minor scale. but in a combination of the Lydian and Mixolydian modes. Imagine that. Comes out with a sort of Turkish or Greek sound. I had a date with a pretty ballerina, her hair so brilliant that it hurt my eyes. Rather unusual, wouldn't you say? And even so commonplace a number as the Monkees' recent hit, I'm a Believer, has one noteworthy musical twist. It's going along in the standard gospel shouting tradition. Then I saw her face, now I'm a believer. And now suddenly here's the cadence. I'm a believer, I couldn't leave her if I tried. What a place to end on. Totally unexpected chord. Now I know you may say, well, what's so great about that chord? It's ordinary. We've had much more sophisticated and adventurous harmonies in pop music of the 30s. What about Gershwin? What about Duke Ellington, Sophisticated Lady, with those rich chromatic parallel seventh chords? Yes, but that's the whole point. This pop generation has rejected that old chromatic sound as too sophisticated. The sound of an older, slicker generation. The old-fashioned sound of the cocktail lounge. Now, this new music is much more primitive in its harmonic language. Relies more on the simple triads. The basic harmony of folk music. Never forget that this music employs a highly limited musical vocabulary. Limited harmonically, rhythmically, and melodically. But within that restricted language, all these new adventures are simply extraordinary. Only think of the sheer originality of a Beatles tune, like this one, which, again, uses only the elementary resources of pop music. I was alone, I took a ride, I didn't know what I would find there. Well, that could almost be by Schumann. It's so expansive and romantic. And notice how the range of the melody has been expanded. Most pop tunes have in the past been restricted to the range of an octave or so, owing to the limitations of pop singers' vocal ranges. But not so anymore. Our pop generation reaches and spreads itself, grasping at the unattainable. And this is one of the things I like most about it. The straining tenderness of those high, untrained young voices.
Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me in the jingle time.
That's Bob Dylan. And here's a group called The Association. And as always, the Beatles.
You love to, and you know you should be glad. You love to.
Now, of course, whereas I may call that a straining after falsetto dreams of glory, you may call it nothing but a breakdown in gender, that same androgynous phenomenon of the pop scene that produces boys with long hair and ruffled shirts. And you may be right, but back to the music. What else do I like about it? I like the eclecticism of it, its freedom to absorb any and all musical styles and elements, like old blues.
My baby does the hanky-panky.
Or a high Bach trumpet. That's Penny Lane, Beatles. Or a harpsichord. Or even a string quartet. Curious. Then I like the international and interracial way it ranges over the world, borrowing from the ragas of Hindu music, or borrowing from the sensuality of Arab cafe music. Then I like some of the new sounds, purely as sound, that are coming out of pop music. The arresting impact of a consort of amplified guitars.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The sound.
Well, she was just.
And then I like the astonishing force of those hiked-up bass lines. And the outrageously cool utterances of that inhuman electric organ. Now, don't get me wrong. I said I liked some of those sounds. There's a good deal I don't like and wouldn't dream of defending. I don't like volume for its own sake, or the way the words are often drowned out by drums and amplifiers. I don't like the amateur quality of some of the writing and the out-of-tune singing. This music can be coarse, faddish, a victim of its own sameness. And yet when it's good, it's irresistible. After all, there are pros and cons to everything.